take a look at Hiefer Dust. First of all, on the notes for the mog grinder, I talked about the two different versions of the score, and the reason behind this is that a while ago I started making transcriptions of all these old barrelhouse pieces, and then I would attempt to learn them exactly as they were played on the record. And I found that I had a difficult time learning them and a really difficult time memorizing them. I attempted to memorize a few pieces, and I found that the level of detail in the score, that varied from one section to the next. Well, it was impossible to remember all those details and where they were exactly. And I realized that pieces like Scott Joplin's Rags are of similar complexity and musicianship to these sort of pieces, but they are entirely possible to learn and memorize. The way that the older barrelhouse pianists would learn these pieces, if they didn't make them up themselves, would be just to learn a very basic version of it, and then they would add their own little details. And so a lot of times these little details on these recordings really only apply to that particular recording. Like if you hear a second take of a piece, and they do exist out there, you'll notice that there are sometimes major differences, but certainly small differences in the way that these pieces were played. And so it's better to start basic and then add in details, maybe according to your own style or maybe according to the way that they played it. But just to remember note for note every detail of a piece as it appears in a record is quite difficult. And so that's why I've taken this approach. And so with this incomplete version of Hiefer Dust, it's probably a good idea to learn a basic version of the main section, 1 through 12. So it's a 12-bar structure. Learn like just one version of that, and then you can just repeat that every time it comes back. That's an easy way to learn this piece. And then you have other sections, there's a B section, and then there's a C section, and then there's little variations on the A section that you could sort of add those details one at a time. And so since this isn't a finished score, as I would like to have it finished, you kind of have to do your own interpretation with that. All right, so what I want to go over is just some pointers, especially on the fingering. So let's start with pick up to measure 1. The fingering I came up with that is I start with 1 and then go 2, 3. All right, and then the run down. What I'm using is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, and then you keep repeating all the way down. All right, when you get to measure 5, I have 4, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 3, 2, and then here's the tricky bit. 1, 3, 1, 1, 2, 4. That's the tricky part, because you got to do some tricky things with your wrist there. But I found that's really the only thing that works effectively. Okay, measure 9 to measure 10, this little figure here. What you want to do there is, the barrelhouse players used a lot of sliding from black key to white key. And so the fingering here is going to be 1, 2, slide with 2, 3. And then you can do a 5, whatever finger you want to do with that. So it's not super difficult, but you have to practice that a bit. All right, measure 58 In the right hand, there's a grace note E flat to E. And I like to use the thumb again to slide like that. One of the more awkward places is in the C section. So 85, we have this. So I like to do 3, 4, 2, and then jump. And you have the 7th here. There's the tricky part right there. That's in measure 88. So, and then that's an E flat and C sharp at the same time. So I use 1, 4, 2, 5, and then 1, 4 again, and then 5. So again, that's awkward. It just takes a bit of practicing to get that part down. As mentioned in the notes for the maul grinder, I tend to leave notes in unless I'm sure they're mistakes. And there's one place in here that I'm pretty sure it's a mistake, but I put it in anyway, at least in this non-polished version, and that is measure 66, 67. Yeah, this left-hand part. I'm pretty sure that was not intentional. I think that should probably be the same as the other places. One other point is that I find he uses less swing in some places than others. One place is this cascading rundown. It tends to straighten out the rhythms a little bit there, and maybe a little bit, might be a little bit of acceleration as well. And so places like that I put in less swing, at least in some cases. And then another place where there's pretty much no swing at all, 63. Measure 63, you get this part with octaves. That's pretty much straight up.